nor does he ever lose his pure knowledge. But because of the influence of the illusionary effect, these activities are performed under the dictation of the illusionary effect. The experience is compared to the experience of one having his head cut off in a dream. The man whose head has been cut off also sees that his head has been cut off. If a person's head is severed, he loses his power to see. Simple. If a person's head is cut, then how will he see? He cannot see, he is dead. Therefore, if a man sees that his head has been cut off, it means that he thinks like that in hallucination, imagination. Similarly, a living entity is eternally subordinate to the Supreme Lord, and he has this knowledge with him, but artificially thinks that he is God himself, and that although he is God, he has lost his knowledge due to Maya. This conception has no meaning, just as there is no meaning to seeing one's head being cut off. This is the process by which knowledge is covered. And because this artificial rebellious condition of the living entity gives him all goods, it is to be understood that he should take to his normal life as a devotee of the Lord and be relieved from the misconception of being God. The so-called liberation of thinking oneself God is the last reaction of avidya by which the living entity. The conclusion is that a living entity deprived of eternal transcendental service to the Lord becomes illusioned in many ways. Even in his conditional life, he is eternal servitor of the Lord. His servitude under the spell of illusory Maya is also a manifestation of his eternal conditions of service. Because he has rebelled against the service of the Lord, he is therefore put into the service of man. He is still serving, but in perverted manner. When he wants to get out of the service under material bondage, he next desires to become one with the Lord. This is another illusion. The best course, therefore, is to surrender into this Lord and get rid of the illusory Maya for good, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7:20. Devi hi esha gunmayi mammaya duratya mameva ye prapadyante maya me tam tanantite yatha jale chandramasa Kampadisthkrito guna darshayate asan apidrastu atmane anatmano guna. As the moon reflected on water appears to the seer to tremble due to being associated with the quality of the water. Another analogy. As the moon reflected on water appears to the seer to tremble. Have you had this experience? Try to see a moon, the reflection of water. You will see that the moon is shaking. Why it is shaking? Due to being associated with the quality of water. So the self associated with matter appears to have the qualities of matter. Why we misidentify this reason is given. The Supreme Soul, the personality of Godhead, is compared to the moon in the sky. And the living entities are compared to the reflection of the moon on water. The moon in the sky is fixed and does not appear to quiver like the moon on the water. Actually, like the original moon in the sky, the moon reflected on the water should also not quiver. But because of being associated with water, the reflection appears to be quivering, although in actual fact, the moon is fixed. The water moves, but the moon does not move. Similarly, the living entities appear to be tainted by material qualities like illusion, lamentation, and memories, although his pure soul and such qualities are completely absent. The word pratiyate, which means apparently and not actually, like the experience of having one's head cut off in a dream, is significant here. The reflection of the moon on the water is a separated ray of the moon and not the actual moon. The separated parts and parcel of the Lord entangled in the water of material existence have a quivering quality, whereas the Lord is like the actual moon in the sky, which is not at all in touch with water. The light of the sun and the moon reflected on matter makes the matter bright and praiseworthy. The living symptoms are compared to the light of the sun and the moon, illuminating material manifestation like trees and mountains. The reflection of the sun or moon is accepted as the real sun or moon by less intelligent men. And the pure monoistic philosophy develops from these ideas. In fact, the light of the sun and the moon are actually different from the sun and moon themselves. Although they are always connected, the light of the moon spreads throughout the sky appears to be personal. But the moon planet, as it is personal, and the living entities on the moon planet are also personal. If the rays of the moon, different material entities appear to be comparatively more or less important. The light of the moon on the Taj Mahal appears to be more beautiful than the same light in the wilderness. Although the light of the moon is the same everywhere, due to being differently appreciated, it appears different. Similarly, the light of the Lord is equally distributed everywhere. But due to being differently received, it appears to be different. One should not, therefore, accept the reflection of the moon on the water as actual and misunderstand the whole situation through monistic philosophy. The quivering quality of the moon is also variable. When the water is standing still, there is no quivering. A more subtle condition, soul quivers less, but due to material connection, the quivering quality is more or less present everywhere. What a big analogy Prabhupada is quoting. That the actual moon is in the sky is compared to the supreme Lord. And the reflection of the moon is like the living entity. The living entity is quivering. Savai nivritti dharmena Vasudeva anukampaya bhagavad bhakti yogena tirodhate shane iha. But that misconception of self-identity can be diminished gradually by the mercy of the personality of Godhead Vasudev through the process of devotional service to the Lord in the mode of detachment. Very beautiful word. Savai nivritti dharmena Vasudeva anukampaya bhagavad bhakti yogena tirodhate shaneri. We have seen heard tiro bhav, but here it is tirodhate. This false identity will be completely burned out. The quivering quality of the material existence which comes from identification with matter or from thinking oneself to be God, the material influence of philosophical separation can be eradicated by devotional service to the Lord by the mercy of the personality of Godhead Vasudev, as discussed in the first canto. Because the application of devotional service to Lord Vasudev invites pure knowledge and it quickly deters on from material conception of life and thus revives one's normal condition of spiritual existence, even in this life. What is the verse? Very famous verse, first canto. We have all done those verses. I am expecting that you remember the verse. बताइए कौन सा वर्स है बोलो रम्या, you know?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी, वासुदेव भगवती जनयति आसु वैराग्य।
भक्ति योग प्रयोजिता कहाँ जाएगा?
वासुदेव भगवती भक्ति योग प्रयुक्त जनयति आशु वैराग्य ज्ञानं च
यद हेतु का यस, वेरी गुड। वो श्लोका बुक आप लोगों ने नहीं बनाया है क्या? भागवतम का मैंने बोला था श्लोका बुक बना लो। हाँ, जो जो मैं श्लोक बोलता हूँ वो उसमें लिखो, याद करो और रिवाइज करो, नहीं तो कुछ नहीं आएगा। श्रीमद् भागवतम में 18,000 श्लोक है, हाँ समर है। अगर अलग से बुक नहीं बनाओगे तो पकड़ में नहीं आएगा कुछ भी। As discussed in the first canto, because the application of devotional service to the Lord Vasudev invites pure knowledge, it quickly detaches one from the material conception of life and revives one's normal condition of spiritual existence, even in this life, and frees one from the material winds which cause one to quiver. Wow. Yeah, Prabhupada ka logic. And frees one from the material wind which causes quiver. Where does the quiver is experienced? समझ में आ रही है नहीं लाल जी? बोलोगे तो कुछ है नहीं। What is this quivering? Pradeep? What is this quivering spoken about? Sorry?
inquiry.
Inquiry? वो विल आंसर। मानिनी माता जी, क्या ये क्यूवरिंग क्या है?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद।
हरे कृष्ण।
नहीं पता प्रभु।
अरे 10 मिनट से इसी के बारे में बात कर रहा हूँ। क्यूवरिंग क्या है? रेयांशी बताएगी। बताइए रेयांशी। अनम्यूट कर दो रविंद्र को। बोलिए रेयांशी, सुन रही थी ना? क्यूवरिंग क्या है?
Prabhuji, I don't know.
ध्यान नहीं दिया। I was thinking that you were here. Your mother will explain. अगर नहीं समझ में आ रहा तो पूछो ना। किसी ने नहीं सुना? बोलो रविंद्र, क्या क्यूवरिंग? मतलब भैया नहीं समझ में आ रहा था तो पूछोगे? ये चुपचाप शांति से अगर पूछोगे तो मुझे कैसे पता चलेगा कि नहीं समझ में आ रहा? पिछले 3 श्लोकों से यही चल रहा है। बोलिए दयाशील ब्रो।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी, क्यूबरिंग इज आइडेंटिफाइंग oneself with a matter, like
वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड। इतना सिंपल है। अभी बताया क्यूबरिंग इज ऑफ द जीवा एंड व्हाट इट इज आइडेंटिफाइंग विद वाटर। So the jiva is false identification is with like identifying with matter. What Prabhupada is saying, that quivering is there, the false identification is there because of the wind. What are the wind? The three modes of material nature. Prabhupada लिख रहे हैं that Vasudev invites pure knowledge and quickly detaches one from the material conception of life and thus revives one's normal condition of spiritual existence even in this life and frees one from the material winds which causes one to quiver. Only knowledge and devotional service can elevate one towards the path of liberation. The development of knowledge for the purpose of knowing everything without rendering devotional service is considered fruitless labor. And one cannot get the desired result by such labor of love. Lord Vasudeva is pleased by devotional service only. And thus his mercy is realized by association with pure devotees of the Lord. Pure devotees of the Lord are transcendental to all material desires, including the desire for result of fruitive activities and philosophical speculations. If one wants to acquire the mercy of the Lord, one has to associate with pure devotees. Such association alone can by degrees release one from the quivering elements. Yada indriya upramatha Rishtaratmani pare haro Viliyante tada klesha Samsuptasya eva krishnasa. When the senses are satisfied in the sphere super soul, personality of Godhead, and merge in it, all miseries are completely vanquished as after a sound sleep. The quivering of the living entity as described above is due to the senses. Since the entire material existence is meant for sense gratification, the senses are the medium of material activities. And they cause the quivering of the steady soul. Therefore, the senses are to be detached from all such material activities. According to the impersonalist, the senses are to be stopped from birth by merging the soul into the super soul properly. The devotees, however, do not stop the material senses from acting, but rather engage their transcendental senses in the service of the transcendence, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In either case, the activities of the senses in the material field are to be stopped by cultivation of knowledge. And if possible, the sense should be engaged in the service. The senses are transcendental in nature, but their activity becomes polluted when contaminated by matter. We have to treat the senses, cure them of the material disease, not stop them from acting, as suggested by the first disciple. In the Bhagavad Gita 259, it is said that one ceases all material activities only when satisfied by contact with a better engagement. What is this verse? 2.59. One ceases all material activities only when satisfied by contact with a better engagement. Prabhupada doesn't take this principle here. Yes, बोलिए reaction. ये तो आपके लिए इजी है, बहुत इजी है. पूरा सही श्लोक बोलना, बोलो.
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिना रसो वर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते.
अच्छा, now see the translation what Prabhupada has given. See what Prabhupada is quoting. Very unique. Prabhupada is saying that one all ceases all material activities only when satisfied by contact with a better engagement. What is that better engagement? Based on this verse. रेक्टाफिकेशन नहीं चलेगा, अंडरस्टैंडिंग के ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा. व्हाट इज बेटर एंगेजमेंट? इस श्लोक में बेटर एंगेजमेंट क्या है?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, to engage one's self senses in devotional service.
इस श्लोक में कहीं ये आता है? व्हाट इज द ट्रांसलेशन ऑफ द वर्स? ना ना, देख के नहीं, ये तो आपको याद होना चाहिए. विषया निवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसोवर्जं रसोऽपि यस्य परम दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते. What is the translation of this verse? What is your understanding? Bolo, bolo, whatever it is, whatever you have studied. Yeah, बोलिए. What is Vishya Nivartante? Vishya Vinivartante.
Vishya Vinivartante means that
What is Vishya? हमें को नहीं पता है, आप ही को बताना पड़ेगा. थोड़ा और प्रैक्टिस करना. What is better engagement? ऐसा ये बताओ. What is better engagement?
better engagement is to
Higher taste. Higher taste. Unless and until one experiences the higher taste, he cannot give up the lower taste. That is the verse. Yes or no? So here, Prabhupada is in a very different way suggesting this verse, that one ceases all material activities only when he is satisfied by contact with a better engagement. That is when he experiences spiritual experience, then he gives up the material activity. Consciousness is active by nature and cannot be stopped from working. Artificially stopping a mischievous child is not the real remedy. Can you stop a mischievous child? No. The child must be given some better engagement so that he will automatically stop causing mischief. You are hearing? Ramya? Apply this formula in life. I told you engage her. Don't leave her. Huh? Before she completes one, give her the other task. This is not my formula. This is Prabhupada's experience. The child must be given some better engagement so that he will automatically stop causing mischief. In the same way, the mischievous activities of the senses can be stopped only by better engagement in relation with the Supreme Personality of God. When the eyes are engaged in seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, the tongue is engaged in tasting prasadam or remnants of foodstuffs offered to the Lord, and the ears are engaged in hearing His glories, and hands are engaged in cleaning the temple of the Lord. What is this verse? Beautiful verse, very beautiful. Let's talk about this, all these engagements. अरे तुम लोग भी कुछ बताओ भाई. कौन सा वर्ष है? माने नहीं, आप तो सुनती ही नहीं हो. इस पुरुषोत्तम मास में कितने दिन सुनी हो?
प्रभु जी धन्यवाद.
कोई काम नहीं है रात के 9 बजे, आपका कोई ऑफिस का काम नहीं है। आप मुझे ये नहीं कह सकती मैं ऑफिस के काम से 9 बजे ऑफिस में थी इसलिए नहीं सुन रही। बोलिए दयाशील प्रभु।
प्रभु जी, सबे मन कृष्ण पदार बिंद वाचाम सुंठ गुणानुबन।
सवे मना कृष्ण पादार बंदेयो वाचंसी वैकुंठ गुणानुवर्तने। हरो मंदिर मार्जना देशु तत् हरि कथा सदोदय। So engaging all the senses in the master of the senses, Rishikesha. Then one can that okay. Then only can the transcendental senses become fully satisfied and eternally free from material engagement. The Lord as the super soul residing in everyone's heart and as the supreme personality of Godhead is the transcendental of the in the transcendental world, far beyond the material creation. He is the seer of all our activities. Our activities must be so transcendently saturated that the Lord will be kind enough to look upon us favorably and engage us in His transcendental service. Then only can the senses be satisfied completely and no longer troubled by material attraction. Okay. I'll stop at this few minutes to 9. I'm stopping. Little bit of discussion. We try to sleep today, but everyone's try to sleep early before 9:30, and tomorrow wake up by 4. पुरुषोत्तम देख लिया बोर्ड, ब्लैक बोर्ड?
यस यस।
अभी एक वीक में ले आओ, अभी बच्चे की छुट्टी है, इसको खूब उपयोग करा। श्लोका लिखेगी इसको बोर्ड पे और याद करेगी। प्रिंसिपल सुन लिया ना? और अगर ये नहीं कराओगे तो 2 दिन भागेगी, टाइम वेस्ट करेगी, मिस्टिफ करेगी। ये मैं नहीं बोल रहा, प्रभुपाद जी बता रहे, समझ गया?
यस।
और जब आप लोग सुनोगे तो मैं आपका पीछे बोर्ड देखूंगा, कौन सा श्लोक याद कर रहे हो, याद कराया। ठीक? हरे कृष्ण। बोलो, कोई प्रश्न है, चर्चा है तो करिए। आज हमारा 4 घंटे में 3 घंटा क्वेश्चन आंसर हुआ, केवल 6 श्लोक पढ़ा पाया 4 घंटे में, पढ़ाने दे 20। आप लोग क्वेश्चन ही नहीं पूछते। तो ओके फाइन, देन वी कंक्लूड फॉर टुडे। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।